Hello everyone, this is a December 2019 Pure Tenyi deck profile. So I thought I ordered a copy of Mare. I didn't, I forgot to, so if you're building this deck, put in one copy of Mare. So anyway, this deck is budget. It actually reminds me a lot of Crawlers because not only is it budget, but it also is not too powerful. I mean, none of the monsters in this Tenyi deck have effects that are too overwhelmingly powerful. There's some bouncing, a little bit of recurring and reviving, some immunity with your extra deck monsters, but for the most part, this is an average, mediocre deck, but also one that can be picked up at a very modest price. So versus any kind of less competitive deck, something like Dark Magician, this deck could win. So we start off with 3 Tenyi Spirit Vishuddha. So if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, like all the Tenyi Spirits. So also they all have second effects that start the same way. If you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard. And then this one allows you to bounce the card your opponent controls. So bounce their floodgates, bounce their field spells, bounce their continuous spells, their extra deck monsters. This card is unfortunately not a quick effect, so it's not as good as it could be, but maybe not too surprising because this card is actually being splashed in a lot of decks because it's a free special summon and has that useful bouncing effect, so maybe it'd be a little too good if it was a quick effect. So also it's got some pretty good stats because this is a beatdown strategy, so you want to just sometimes leave your Vishuddha on the field as a beater, and it is a level 7 too, so you can just go into your level 8 synchros with your Adhara. So 3 Adhara, this is your level 1 tuner. So this recurs your banished worms from the banished pile. So a lot of those are free, they're all free special summons, and some of them are hand traps too. Something like Nahata, which lowers attack, or Mapura, which negates targeting. So just good to have those useful Tenyi Spirits in your hand. 3 Nahata, so same first 2 effects, or first effect and condition for the second effect, but this one lowers your opponent's monster's attack by 1500. So with your Berserker of the Tenyi, the Link 3 non-effect monster, it's unaffected by monster effects if you have the field spell, but it can still lose in battle. So this card gets around that one way that it is affected by monsters still. And this card actually does not target too, so it gets around protection. 3 Shathana, so this card is your answer to any kind of spot removal or battle because it brings back that destroyed monster, that non-effect monster, and also pops a monster your opponent controls. So it's a good kind of offensive and defensive play that is also a hand trap. 3 Mapura, another hand trap like Tenyi Spirit here, so stops any kind of targeting. So that Link 3 non-effect monster, that Tenyi monster, can still lose to spells and traps, so this just stops those spells and traps from targeting. And finally, for the Tenyi Spirits, 3 Ashuna, which special summons from the deck. So this is actually the best stats in the main deck. So a lot of times you do want to special summon this card, but if you want to swap it out or handpick from the deck, this helps you. And here's where I'd be showing Mare, but Mare can only be special summoned by a worm monster. It's a level 7 tuner, but will be dropped down to a 4 ultimately. But after you summon 3 tokens, so you special summon it from the graveyard with either the Shaman Link 2 or from the deck with Yadza, which is the level 7 Yang Zhang synchro, and pretty much helps you go into a Yadza. That's pretty much the purpose of Mare. It's a brick, but you do run 4 cards that can dump it, so the odds are probably in your favor. 3 Ash Blossom for the last monster, so this is the best hand trap. Wanted to include some hand traps, so here it is. Spells, 3 Vessel, so this is your Rhoda and your Foolish Burial built into one, so you want to get your Tenyi Spirit on the field, go into your Monk, get that non-effect monster, then activate this card to both dump and search. So this is a 1-for-1 trade. You get this card for the searched monster, but it also establishes your graveyard too. So it's a combination of 2 of the best spells in the game. 3 Flawless Perfection, so this card stops your non-effect monsters or any non-effect monsters on the field from being affected by monster effects, so probably going to be your monsters. Turns your 3000 beatstick Tenyi Berserker into an immune Tenyi Berserker with 3000 attack. Also allows you to draw a lot. I mean, pretty much every turn your opponent's going to be special summoning effect monster. Most decks will be special summoning effect monsters, and you get to draw 2 cards. So I thought I'd play this. 3, I thought that with this draw power, with the Waterfalls of Dragon Souls, which I also do run, I thought I didn't need Desires. 3 Call by the Grave, so it stops the opponent's hand traps. So Effect Veiler really hurts the Tenyi Spirits. Ash Blossom will hurt the Vessel, hurt the Foolish Burial, hurt Ashuna from specialing from the deck. Ghost Bell will stop Shaman from bringing back your Mare. Ghost Ogre won't hurt it as much because you do have some non-effect monsters, but still a lot of the card like Shaman or the other Link 3, the effect Link 3 will be hurt by Ghost Ogre, so this is just a useful card, Called by the Grave. Monster Born, so this is a great top deck if you can bring back your Berserker, the Link 3, the non-effect Link 3. You can actually control a non-effect monster to use all of your Tenyi Spirits effects in the hand or graveyard. Terraform to search the field spell, and Foolish Burial to dump an extra, the whole deck is graveyard reliant pretty much, so fits in just like Vessel. For the traps, 3 Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. So this card is pretty much Salamangreat Roar or Nova Alpha or Imperial Tombs, just a counter trap, but also does not destroy, unfortunately. But it does have a good second effect. If it's set and popped, you can special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon from the extra deck. And finally, 3 Waterfall of Dragon Souls. So a lot of times you just want to be searching the worm from your deck to your hand. You don't want to discard, because if you get ashed and you discard like 4, let's say you want to draw a lot and you discard 4, you will be -5, this card plus the 4 that you discarded if your opponent ashes you. So it really loses really hard to ash. So sometimes the search is safer. For the extra deck, 3 Monk. So you want to play this at 3 because a lot of times you're going through 2 in one turn. So just to get that non-effect monster on the field. So just not much needs to be said about it. It's pretty much a Link Spider. 2 Shaman. So this is your link climbing tool. Discard 1, then bring back sometimes the Mare, but also any kind of worm in your graveyard. It does have a second effect too. Not too useful on your opponent's turn because they won't attack into your non-effect monster, but if it's your turn, you can attack with your non-effect monster and pop a card they control. 2 Berserker. I play 2 of this card because it's pretty much the win condition you want it, or one of the primary ones. You want to have this card on the field with Flawless Perfection. So I thought I'd increase this card to 2 because it's a beater that is immune to when you have that field spell. 1 Draco Master. So this is actually a really just powerful support card for any non-effect deck. Can't be destroyed by battle with an effect monster, and also you can pop effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters you control or in your graveyard. So like I said, you're going through a lot of those monks in one turn. 2 Berserkers in the extra deck. Sometimes, every turn you can be popping like 2 cards sometimes. 1 or 2 effect monsters. 1 Link Rebo. Just to, any deck that has a level 1, you have the Adhara, so just put in the Link Rebo. And then Lamphalinkus, so this is your Link 2 that is also a non-effect monster. So sometimes you do need to go into a Link 2. Mare for the tokens too. So this is just a useful card in this non-effect based deck. For the synchros, we start with the level 7, the Yadza. So can't be targeted, which is just good right off the bat. Stands a chance to your opponent's turn. Also, pop itself and then trigger its second effect, which it would be to special a worm from the deck. So you can actually get your Mare that way, and this is just a really easy card. You can either get Mare, or if you already have Mare on the field, go into this card. And pretty decent beater too for a level 7 synchro. We have Bastia, so this card is good just like it is in Yang Zing because there's a lot of different attributes in this deck. Its second effect isn't quite as good because you don't want to be popping your own cards most of the time. They don't have floater effects like Yang Zing does. But still, spinning 3 cards upon summon, very, very strong. Borreload Savage Dragon. So any deck that has a lot of Link monsters as well as has access to level 8 synchros wants to run this card. Just Omni Negate, very strong. Just equip your Link 3s to this card. Gets counters, also gets massive attack. And finally for the synchros, Draco Berserker, which competes with Borreload Savage Dragon for being a very, one of the best splashable level 8 synchros. 2 really killer effects. When your opponent's monster activates an effect, banish it, so just interrupt their play. It doesn't negate the effect, but just very strong interruption. Also can attack twice and permanently gains attack too. So just super strong card right here, which is why it's kind of expensive because it is so splashable. And the last card is the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which you special summon for free, just to be a throwback, goofy choice. Which does actually fit in very well because it is such a strong beater and a non-effect monster. It's pretty much the pure Tenyi deck for December 2019. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing more with Tenyi in the near future, so stick around. Thanks. Bye-bye.